skin therapists, estheticians, and makeup artists, we're kind of a different breed. And we're in these groups together. Some of them are industry trade associations, some of them are social media groups. We're all in it together. And somebody that I've been, and I just feel like I know him so well, but that watching over the years is always so kind to especially newcomers, new people in the industry, and even some that have been around a while, and is very willing to offer assistance, offer help, offer suggestions. And you don't find that in very many industries, but in our industry you do. And it's like, it's a peer group, it's not competitors. So what we've got tonight is, looks like I'm still frozen, but our guest tonight, thank you for joining us on Happy Skin Over 50. This is my guest, our guest tonight, and it's Texas Dela Rosa.
Hi there, how are you, Jill?
Just absolutely awesome. And as it happens, we both live in the same state, and I think the tornadoes that have left your area
Yes.
are coming to our area.
Yeah, we just had a tornado about an hour and a half ago. We had two actually. I'm right in the Austin proper, Austin center, and so we don't get a lot of them downtown, but they do get them north in like Round Rock, Cedar Park, Leander, and then there was one down over Wimberley. So I lucked out. I mean, it was really gusty and really crazy, and I didn't know if we were going to lose power or things, but I was good. So yeah, thankful. Hopefully everyone's okay.
Well, it looks like I'm still frozen on screen, but that doesn't matter. I'm not the guest. I'm just the moderator here.
I can see you. I can see you. I can see you. You're moving.
Moving?
Yeah, you're moving on my end.
Okay, well,
so, yeah.
I don't see me moving. I just see the back of my hair and my ponytail and my scarf. Okay, Texas Dela Rosa, that is your name, and there are so many things that follow your name. I'm not going to get them all, I'm sure. But you do, you do skincare, you do threading, brows, lips. Do you do eyeliner, permanent makeup? And you're also a celebrity makeup artist.
Well, I always laugh about that because I've been told that I am a celebrity makeup artist. Here's my thing. I work with celebrities, but I think everyone sitting in my chair is a celebrity, and no one's more important than the person sitting in my chair. So I treat everyone like a celebrity. But yeah, I have worked with some pretty famous people in the past.
Yes, you have. And that does make you a very famous person also. And another reason asking you to be a guest on my show, and I'm so honored that you are, is because you do take that attitude with all of your clients, that client, they get your undivided attention, and everything is geared strictly for them. It's not just a cookie cutter thing. Well, this is a facial we're going to do. These are eyebrows we're going to do. This is makeup we're going to do. No, it's individual. So can you expound on that a little bit and explain a little bit more?
Absolutely. Well, I think it kind of boils down to, probably the history of what I have in working with skin and working in the industry. And I've been a makeup artist for 20 some odd years in Austin, Texas, doing a lot of work with, bridal when I first started out in the industry. And then that kind of morphed into doing, a lot of, I started in music videos, actually, working in film and that industry. And that was, I think, in my early 20s. And then it started working where I started building this clientele in Austin. And the cool thing about it was that, they trusted me with their makeup, but then they would also ask me questions about their skin. A lot of my clients I've had for, some of them even 10, 15, 20 years now. They were some of my earlier clients, and they're still with me, and we change as we age. I'm now 41 years old. I'll be 42 next month, and my skin has changed. And I think that one of the bigger things that happened is I had to figure out, well, why am I sending people to another facility to get their skin taken care of? I think I want to learn more about that. And so that's kind of where I got into working in the skin industry, and then working under doctors and plastic surgeons. And I've worked under, some of the best people in Austin. And And I'm now down in Buda in my clinic, and I just love doing what I do. And what I found over those years is that you build this relationship with people. When people get their facials, it's like their hairstylists. They don't just pop around. And there are some people, may go into pro cuts or whatever here and there. But when you really kind of stick with someone like me, I've had the same guy for like 14, 15 years, and Danny knows what to do with my hair. It's kind of the same situation when you have these people that you build this relationship with. They trust you, and then you've worked on their skin for so many years or whatever, and you know what to do. Or you build that relationship with a new customer, a new client. And for me, I always find that it's just fascinating because I like to get to the bottom of what's going on, whether it's we're using too much product, not enough, or what are we doing, what are is it sun exposure, SPF, what can we do to figure it out? It's like a little puzzle. And I think that that's where a lot of people maybe fall short when they're doing stuff, is because they do, like you said, those cookie cutter situations. I got out of school, I got out of SC school, I got out of Cosmo or whatever, and I just do the same thing over and over on everybody. But see, that's not going to work for every single client. I tell all my clients I could have 10 people in a row, and not 10 of those people, not one of them are going to have the same thing. It may be a different situation for everybody's skin and what they're needing and what they're lacking and what they're trying to do.
That's interesting that you mentioned that. It brought to mind something that I did a couple of years ago. I wrote a protocol for a series for my clients in my clinic. And it took me 2 months to write that protocol. And it was, if this, then this. And if this, then this. And if this, then not that, and not that, and not. And then when the first client booked, I didn't do any of that protocol at all. It was what her skin needed, her face needed. And I was not following that protocol that I was so proud of. The next client that had scheduled came in, and it was, and it's like, out the door.
Yeah.
It all was.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of people in the industry. I think that they just kind of, again, they just get stuck doing the same thing over and over again. And because it's what's comfortable for them. They understand those products are what they're like, whether they're using a certain product, a certain line for a long time, and then that's all they know. And then they don't want to branch out. And I think in our industry, it's really important to learn new lines, because not every line is going to have what you need for that person. And I think a lot of people think in the industry that they have to stick with one line because they have that one rep that brought them stuff, and then that's all they need. So you'll see the rep come in and snarl if they look at you're using a different product, and no names, of course, we're not using any names today. But the thing is, we all know that there are, I mix and match a lot of my stuff, because I know that these companies have protocols they've written for their stuff, but that doesn't mean that everyone's skin is going to take what your company is selling or get better by using that product. Maybe we need to switch avenues a little bit. And so as you get more in the industry, you start realizing, oh, and even in your own personal skincare, I've tried lines where I bought the whole line, hook, line, and sinker, and spent the $1,000, and maybe like 2 of those products only, and I was like, man, I wish I'd have just known that, because I would have just got a vitamin C or their SPF or whatever, but we all have to live and learn. And I think it's just part of the industry as we grow. We have to expand, and don't be afraid to expand.
You brought up a really good point. First, I'm going to backtrack a little bit and announce to our audience that because this show is called Happy Skin Over 50 does not mean that the guests are over 50, because Texas is definitely not over 50. I just wanted to clarify that. But then another point that you brought up, Texas, is that we have to know the ingredients. We have to be detectives and know the ingredients, because I do use several different lines as well.
Yeah.
And I have to know which one will go with another one.
Yeah, and your skin may change.
8 different lines. Yes.
Yeah. You may use a product that you've been using for years. That's happened to me. I've used a product. I remember using this one product. God, I've been using it for maybe 10, 12 years. And then all of a sudden, maybe they changed something in the formula or whatever, but I broke out. I got really red. I was irritated. And I was like, what? And it could have been my skin just changed. And I had to really think and go, man, what was going on? And I had to do this kind of, investigation to see what it was. And I found out what product it was, and I quit using it. And it was a product I loved. And I had to learn from my own personal experience that I had to switch. So that happens too. You may use something for many years and love it, and then all of a sudden your skin decides, I don't like this anymore. And we can develop allergies as we age to things, and that happens. And and it's unfortunate, but it does happen. And so then you got to learn where to pivot. That's what I think. So
because there will be people that come in that do not have the background and the education that we do, of course, and they'll say, "But I have used this for years, and it's always been wonderful," and they've used it since teenage years or college,
Right.
or when they just started really deciding to wash their face
Yeah.
and use the moisturizer. But our hair color changes, our
Yeah.
hair changes. So why would we think that our skin is not changing also, and the same product's not going to work that worked for me
Yeah.
when I was a teenager? Definitely.
100%. Yeah, that's something that definitely a lot of people don't realize. And so sometimes when we get our clients in into the spa that I work at Glow Laser and Beauty down in Buda, Texas. And when we get people in for our aesthetic consultations, a lot of times that's one of our biggest questions is, what are you using? What we have a long list of things like, hey, what are you using? Are you using SPF, vitamin C, peptides, whatever it is that you're using? We want to know what it is, because if you've been using it for 10 years and all of a sudden something changed, well, maybe it was a formula change, maybe it was your skin changing. But regardless, it's not working now. You're here in the facility because you have an issue, or you're wanting to change something, right? We go to these places because, we want to get a facial, yes, but we maybe now we have rosacea, now we have eczema, now, we've had kids and now I have acne, what's going on? And we have all these problems that sometimes can arise later on in life. And so we have to learn how to pivot. And again, if you've been using just one product or one cleanser and then all of a sudden it's not working for you, well, we need to try something new.
Well, we also, and I know you do, we have to keep up with ingredients and ingredient changes.
Mm-hmm.
And the strength and the active ingredient and the powerfulness of it, the strength of it, as well.
Oh yeah,
When there
100%.
are changes in the industry, we know. I mean, we have to. I do.
Well,
And I
and
know
they
that
don't tell
we
us.
have,
Yeah.
no, we have to go out in search of
Yep.
to find out. It's not like, oh well, we're privileged and we get this information. No, we don't. We have
Yeah.
to keep up with what's going on in the industry. Can we
It's
talk?
yeah.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say no. It's very important. You're absolutely right, because they do, because companies change things all the time, and sometimes they have to legally because something may be changed from the
Yes.
FDA, or maybe they found out that this product now 5 years down the line is causing something else, and so then they have to switch things out. I mean, I've worked with companies that have been billion-dollar companies that have had to change things, and that's a big deal for them because they're like, gosh, they've been putting out this product for a long time, but then they have to change them. So, and they don't just send you a little email. Hey, by the way, we just changed this.
Nope.
It's no, we have to figure that out ourselves, and we are detectives when it comes to that. So yeah, it's very true.
There are things that happen also, such as what we had, natural disasters, where the manufacturing companies or the pharmaceutical companies or cosmeceutical companies have been blown away or something, or they cannot receive the shipments. Like, for example, the pandemic, that they could not receive all of the shipments of all of the ingredients because in the products that we use, some of them come from all around the world. So, we have to know if there's been a change and if that company, even though it's got the same container, same label, or dispenser, that maybe there are changes in it. I remember when hexachlorophane was banned, and that turned the world upside down. Everybody I knew, including our medical doctors, I was going to and taking my young children at the time. Things are banned. Hexachlorophane does not come back.
So I think I lost you a little bit on that last part, Shig.
Okay.
Oh, now I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Hexachlorophane has not come. I kind of got quiet there, whispering, but hexachlorophane has not come back. What do you suggest? Because can you get your glow on? This is our title today, our subject line. Can you get your glow on over 50? Let's back up before 50. What is a good age to start being aware of
your skin
and healthy skin? Not
well,
just on the face, but all over.
Yeah. And I will say this, the one thing that we do have going for us is that the skin is an organ. It does heal itself. That's its job, is to heal itself and to get better. So if you ever feel like you're that person that, oh man, I missed the boat. You didn't, I promise you, because I can tell you that in my early years, I didn't do, like in my teenage years, I didn't do a lot of, kind of gross, but I didn't cleanse my face a lot. I just didn't break out. I was very blessed. It wasn't until I got more in my 20s that I started getting acne, and I would sometimes get acne and some things that would happen. And so, I think that everybody, when we start off younger, I always love, like when my friends that are, have kids, and they're like, SPF, do this, wash your face, take care of things. I didn't really have that, because I just didn't have that in my family. I love that they start them off young, because I laugh about millennials sometimes, because I think that millennials can be a little crazy sometimes with their stuff, but they have shown that they are the ones now doing the preventative stuff,
Yes.
Versus, I'm 41, and my parents being 60s, 70s, and, up in that age, they weren't doing any of that. They were just doing a facelift. So, they did all the things, the baby oil and the iodine, the being out in the sun all the time, no SPF, no collagen, no peptides, no whatever, no vitamin C. They just didn't do anything really. And so I think that, a lot of times, starting off young, I think it's really important to start kids off young to know that, that it is an organ. We need to take care of our skin, just like we take care of our insides, like what we're eating and we're putting into our body, that reflects what we're putting on the outside. So I think that when you ask a question like, when is it good to start? Young as possible. But again, don't ever feel like that ship has sailed. You can be in your mid 30s, you can be in your mid 40s. I have lots of clients that come in that are in their 40s, and they're like, I'm brand new. I have no idea where to go. Yes. I've been using blank cleanser for, my entire life. So, and they don't know what to do. And so, and I love those type of people, because if they're really serious, they will put in the work, But I will say this, we all know that intrinsic aging starts between 27 and 30. Okay. So if you wanted to just say, you know what, I'm not going to tell my kids to put on SPF and do those things, whatever, that's fine. But I would say mid 20s is when you really need to start kind of investigating things, because like I said earlier, with these millennials, they're now doing Botox, and they're doing things like, neuromodulators, and they're doing all kinds of new crazy things with their skin, and that, we didn't even think about doing, because we were like, oh, you don't need that until you're like 50. And they're saying now, oh, no, I'm going to do Botox because it's going to help me when I am 50, because I'm actually, slowing down those muscles from moving. I'm causing a little bit of that muscle atrophy, so there's things that, we do now, or we see them doing now, kids and younger people, they're taking it more serious, So I think 27, 30s, between that age, I think everyone should start really focusing on a few things, whether it be a good cleanser, vitamin C, peptides, and an SPF, a good moisturizer, find a moisturizer that you love. But those are really, I think, the top 5 things you need in your arsenal. I mean, I don't think that there's a lot of people that love their steps and they love to do all their 27 serums and this and that. And, I'm not that person. And I love, I love everyone out there that wants to buy all those things and do that. I just don't have 45 minutes before I go to bed to put on 27 items. So I try to keep it simple with my clients too. And I think that's why a lot of my clients love me, is that I don't try to oversell them on a whole series of things that they're not going to do. And I'll ask them, are you going to do this? If I tell you to do this, are you going to do it? Are you going to put in the homework? Because if you do, you're going to see result. And if you don't, well, then we're just going to cut it back to a moisturizer, a cleanser, and an SPF and call it a day. Because that's really probably all you're going to do. So that's kind of how I keep it with my clients. And I feel like that's a good way to look at it, is it's never too late. But I think about the early 30s is when you should start really focusing on prevention, so when you are 50, you're still glowing.
Yes. I did a video one time several years ago. I thought, I'm going to show everybody, and I did a Facebook Live, I think it was, that 5 minutes, that's all it's going to take
at night to cleanse your face.
Yep.
And I put a timer on. I set the timer, and it was ticking. And she was like, okay. And so a double cleanse, and then a serum, an eye cream, and a moisturizer. And it wasn't even 3 minutes. And I was kind of stretching it out, because I was describing how I was cleansing and how I was rinsing, and another clean washcloth for the second clip. And it wasn't even 5 minutes. And it's like, oh my goodness, people, let's get our faces ready for the circadian rhythms to start working at night. And
yeah, I think people just, it's part. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were talking again. Our connection a little crazy there. I think a lot of people think it's going to take them 15, 20 minutes or whatever. It doesn't. It's so simple. That's something I always have done since I've gotten into the skin industry is wash my face at night and then in the morning I always do. I always put on my SPF at night. I'm sorry, my moisturizer at night, and then I always make sure I have an SPF on during the day. Those are like my top things that I do. My skin's also extremely sensitive, so I have to be very careful with a lot of products that I use. So I'm pretty particular about what I use on my face, and even me being sensitive, I can still use a lot of things that are really helpful.
Now, I wanted to touch on that too, because it's not just women. Some people will say, oh, well, let the ladies know and let the women know and let the girls know. It's not, because I have male and female clients, and males are just as conscientious as females are about wanting good skincare and healthy skin and looking healthy, which brings me to ask the question about the beard. Is it different on facial hair for a cleanser, or what about using beard oil? Does that affect the skin? Tell us
Yeah,
about beard
yes. So I
and
will say
male skin
yeah, absolutely.
hair.
So I go back and forth between how long my beard gets, but I always have stubble. I don't like my face without hair. So that just I look like a 5-year-old and I never have liked it. So I do have to change my skincare routine up when I do have longer hair because it does so the moisturizers need to get down past that layer of hair. And a lot of men actually ask me questions about how to maintain their beard because they'll get, flakes, they'll get dry
Right.
skin, irritation, how do I cleanse it? So to keep it simple, I'll just tell you my routine, what I do when I'm cleansing in the shower. I have a little silicone pad. I wish I had one over here, but I have a little silicone pad that I can put, and it just has these little ridges on it. And I put my facial soap on that little pad, and then I just get in and I do circular motions so that I can really get in there and actually kind of help exfoliate the skin as well, but also get that soap down past that hair. Because if you just throw it on like this, you're not
Yeah.
going to get it into the skin, and it's not going to hit where it needs to go. And so then your skin is then compromised. So, it's not getting all the things we need to do. So you're not helping it stay healthy. So I use that silicone pad, got it off of Amazon. It was like $5 for like 3 of them. And that's what I do.
It's kind of a teardrop shape.
It looks like a teardrop, yeah, and it's yellow, and it's got these little silicone little guys on it, and so you'll see some that look like for the head too, but this one's they're really small, and I love it. And that right there is my favorite thing to get in there because I really feel like it's getting in there and using a good wash. And I do have a beard wash that's separate from my actual face wash. But I will also tell you one of my secrets is I will use sometimes medicated Head and Shoulders shampoo in this area and the conditioner because it helps get down there and it stays and it penetrates past the hair and it gets onto the skin so that my skin stays moisturized. So that's a little secret that I use. But yeah, beard oil also a great thing. A lot of people don't really know how to use beard oils. I think a lot of just guys don't think about that as a thing. It's absolutely a thing because again, that oil is also helping to moisturize the skin that is not getting that moisture from when you're putting it on just over, just kind of putting it on your face. So beard oils are really good, and the silicone cleansers. Those are probably my top things to do.
I see a lot of folliculitis with that, with my clients that have beards. And it's like, well, okay, so, you've got like ingrown hair and just
100%.
red bumps and pustules almost. But so if a daily cleansing nightly, I guess we should say, with using the scrubber.
That'll absolutely help. Yes. Yeah, it'll help with the folliculitis, and then also I'd recommend a retinol. Because a retinol like a 0.25%. So I use a 0.25% from a company that we use at my spa, and I love it because it's time release, doesn't hurt my skin. But yeah, it'll help with that cell turnover as well. So using a retinol too will help because if folliculitis has that buildup from that hair follicle, so that's what's happening. And so, and a lot of times people do forget to cleanse throughout the day, especially if you have a beard. So they'll cleanse in the morning, and then when they go to bed, they don't cleanse. Well, everything that you've been walking around, been around eating, drinking, especially if you're eating with a beard. I mean, I know I've got like mustard over here and, mayonnaise, whatever, sandwiches, things like that. They get stuck in the beard, and it's kind of a gross thing to talk about, but it is true. And so if you don't cleanse your face at night, all that stuff is just kind of building up there. So you do need to actually cleanse your face at night. That's really important. I would say the nighttime is probably the most important.
Yes. Retinol, you mentioned that. would this be a daily thing, or is this a temporary thing to use for maybe 3 weeks or 2 months and then lay off of it a while? Or is it such a mild, the concentration and active
If you,
ingredient? So,
yeah,
so
if you're using a 0.25 retinol, that's a very low dosage. You could use that every night. Now, I always tell people when you're going to get on something and you're going to start a new routine, especially like a retinol, maybe do it every third night until your skin gets used to it. Because if you go in and say someone buys a 0.5 or a 1%, that's way too strong. My skin would burn up like I'd look like a tomato. But yeah, you could use that and just start every third night and add that into your regimen and just kind of see if that helps too as well.
After the retinol, then, is that more in a serum or is it in a moisturizer? And do you put a moisturizer on top of that?
Yes. So I would wash my face and then so mine is actually a nighttime cream. It's a nighttime cream. So it has a few things. It has some antioxidants, anti-aging. It has your peptides. And then, so that's my multi-cream. And why I love that is because it has everything. So I'll wash my face, I'll put that on, and then I'll put a little moisturizer on my face. And after I let it sit for a minute. So I do have a little bit of a routine when it comes to that. And that's again, when my beard is longer and I feel like it needs to get down in the skin, I'll let it sit for maybe 1 or 2 minutes while I'm brushing my teeth or something. And then I'll put my moisturizer on and then I go to bed.
Yeah. Okay. And while we're talking about that too, if somebody wants to get in touch with you to make appointments, then how do they contact you?
Glowlaserandbeauty.com. Glowlaserandbeauty.com. We're also very active on GLOW, yep, glow laser and then and beauty.com. But you can always get a hold of me at texasdelarosa.com too as well. I have links to the spa that I work at there, and then also my information's on there. So texasdelarosa.com. That's my website, my personal.
That's 3 names. Texas Dela Rosa.
Yep, Texas Dela Rosa. And I think I'm pretty easy to find. I think if you even Google me, you could find me. I don't think there's another Texas Dela Rosa running around. So
there's not, and you are easy to find, and you've made it easy to find, and that's something that is very admirable for someone of your stature, being a celebrity makeup artist and skincare and laser technician. Let's talk about threading, because a lot of people are not really aware of what threading is. You do that and you teach it?
I do. So threading, so for facial hair removal, so I do threading, and threading is one of my favorite things to do because of course I do a lot of cosmetic tattooing. And so when I'm with my clients, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, well, I don't want to mess with my brows again. You did such a good job. I'm afraid I'm going to over tweeze or do something crazy. And I say, just come see me, sweetie. Come see me. I got you. I already know your shape. I know what to do. And threading is just using, 100% cotton thread, and I always get, this is the one question I get probably the most: do I use my mouth, my teeth?
No.
I know. See, I knew. No, everybody asks that. Do you use your mouth? Absolutely not. No, I don't. And that's a very old school style way to learn. No, I don't. I use my little fingers like little pinchers, and I have videos I think on social about that, how I do that. But it's very effective, and what I really love about it is that it's actually just removing the hair from the follicle, from the root. It's not actually damaging the skin or anything. So a lot of times when we get older, our skin gets thinner. Even if you're using hard wax on skin, it can be sometimes irritating to the skin. You're removing that stratum corneum, that acid mantle, that top layer. So it can be detrimental. I've seen clients come in that have just had, their skin has been completely ruined from years of waxing. And I'm not saying that the wax was the problem. It was the technician probably that was doing it incorrectly. But I've found that threading is just one of the most easy ways to remove things safely. And especially around the eyes, like the brows, the lip area. Say you have someone that is a Fitzpatrick 4, 5, or 6 that is darker, more melanin rich, that you wax that client for a long time, they may actually wind up getting PIH, and we know that happens. Yeah. And and over time, I've seen a lot of my Indian, Hispanic, and even your Asian culture that have had they've had this little kind of stash going on, and that's because of waxing they did. And when we switch to something like threading, it's just removing the hair. It's epilation of the hair. Boom, that's it. It's gone. It's in and out, and it's super fast. And is it painful? I'll answer this one question. Yeah. Everybody asks this question too. I tell everybody this: it is not a walk in the park. There is some discomfort involved, but I've been told, and I don't know why, but I've been told that when I do threading, that when someone has gone somewhere else to go get threaded and then they come to me, I don't know what it is, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've been told by many, many, many clients that doing doesn't hurt as bad. So I don't know. It's a technique. I don't know. Maybe it's that I spend a little bit more time with my clients and I'm not just sitting there trying to rip everything off really fast. But I've found that most people, they say it's uncomfortable, but it's so quick that it's not horrible. So
See, that's just it. And it's what makes you the professional that you are. You go with the individual client. It's their time in your clinic, and you know their skin, and you know, some of us can look at skin and even at a distance and go, oh, you know, I got that figured out. I know what they use. But you take the time to make sure that your clients are comfortable.
yes, 100%. Our clinic is not so clinic like. It's not so like medical. I mean, we are a medical
Yeah.
facility, and we do, medical treatments in our facility, but I try to keep it very cozy. I have a big old TV in my room and I always have music videos playing or movies playing so that people kind of walk in and they get nervous and then they kind of get comfortable. And
Yeah.
then I try to talk to them and make sure that, I always give extremely thorough consultations about where and what we're doing and what to expect, what's going to happen. Usually I spill everything out before, when they're done and I ask, do you have any questions? And they're like, no, you literally answered everything. And that's what I love is I want to make sure that my clients don't feel like they're a number, that I don't, it's not a cattle call. I don't want to get people in and out. I want people to come in and we talk about things. And even if you're doing something as simple as threading, coming in, I had a lady the other day that came in and we started with threading on her. She had her first time getting threaded for brows. She was great. But I also, before I even touched her face, I was like, well, tell me a little bit about yourself and what's going on. And what kind of products you're using. So we went through the whole thing, and now she's on this whole like we're going to have a whole regimen of things that she wants to do, and it's really cool because I took the time to talk to her versus just getting the service and getting her in and out the door. It's everybody's a client that I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I feel like everyone's kind of like a family member.
Yeah.
I treat everyone like they're like my sister or my mom, or my brother. I want them to feel like they can come to me and not be embarrassed to talk about something or they have a concern and that I'm here to help and that I'm not just trying to sell them. I'm not just trying to make sure that they spent all the money on, bought all the products. I want them to know that, hey, if you got products at home, use those all up. But when you're done, come see me. And when you're done, we'll start integrating some new things into your regimen so that you're not sitting there with all these wasted products,
Exactly.
or, or I'll say, hey, you know what? Do you got a daughter? Do you got a niece? Do you got a cousin? Give those products to them. And then let's start you off on something better. But I think a lot of people miss the mark with clients when they just don't ask questions and treat people like they want to be treated themselves.
A lot of times I've gotten calls. Probably the most common would be, I would like to make an appointment for microdermabrasion, and it's like, I don't know you. Microdermabrasion, I don't know, and I don't even do that very frequently.
Yeah.
And I not ever do it on a first appointment and without a consultation, because people see things online.
Yeah.
And they'll hear other people talking about things, microdermabrasion. That's just an example.
Right.
And they think, oh, well, that's what I need then. And you help to educate your clients. You're not just a teacher and instructor and educator for the new licensee and the new skincare professional, but you also are helping to educate your clients so that they know what is good for them and what's right for them and what may not be something that you need at all.
100%. I've always said that, I always, because I think that, I've been to places where they didn't tell me what they were using on me. I've gotten facials where I didn't know anything they were doing and what was going on. And they didn't really ask lots of questions. And so when I left, I was kind of like, that wasn't a good experience. And so I think one of the bigger things that, you've got to look at is, if you're looking to get into having a facial done or having a service done from someone, or if you're giving the service, is that you got to ask questions. You got to get on the same level with that person. And again, it's all about educating them and why do they need this product? Not just they need to buy it. So many people just say, oh, you need to buy this. Well, why do I need to buy it? What is it going to do for me? What is that product, that magic product that you're telling me to buy that's $150 for the serum that's this big? What is it doing for me? Versus, people that just want to make a sale. So I always try to educate my clients, and I always tell people, again, when we have different lines, I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we have like 6 or 7 lines, and I will tell people my favorites of what they are, and I'll say I love this one because I like this one smells. I love this one because the way it makes my skin feel. I love this SPF because it has niacinamides in it, and it's going to help with the dark spots. I love this one because it has hyaluronic acid. It's plumping. I have these reasons, and so I kind of pick and choose these things for people. And when I look at them and when we actually talk about their skin too as well, it's all about that knowledge and getting to know that and giving, again, like you said, a thorough consultation. Don't just I mean, we really don't do a lot of stuff sight unseen, as it were. We really don't, not in our clinic. I'm very adamant that I want to see people. We try to get people that want to book online all the time, and they're like, I can't book it. I'm like, yeah, because I want you to do a consultation, because it's that important to me to talk to you and find out what it is you're trying to achieve, and if it's attainable. We have a lot of people that come in maybe for bridal, and they're like, oh, I've got bad acne and I want to get a facial and I'm getting married in 2 months, and you're like, babe, that's not going to happen. You should have started this a year ago, because sometimes it takes a long time to get things done, and or if you have PIH or if it's laser hair removal or whatever you're trying to achieve. And it's all about education. And I think a lot of people don't educate their clients because they just, again, they want to get in and get out, and they're looking at it the wrong way. They want to make that sale and get that money, but they don't actually help the client sometimes. They just kind of get them in and get them out, and also bringing people back in for follow-ups. We've integrated that into our system, and when they're done with like a series, say if we do a series of 3 microneedles, we have them come back in 4 to 5 weeks, and then we talk about it. How do you feel about your skin? Do you want to continue those, or do we now do a enzyme therapy, or do we have you do a hydrofacial, or do we get you back on a retinol because we got you off? What do we, where do we go? So there's so many things we do, and I think that's also important, is having them come back and they feel like they're, again, as a client, they feel like they care. We care about them, not just their money.
We have other practitioners and professionals that they're joining, and we'll be watching and viewing this show over time. And several times we've mentioned PIH. We also have people that are our clients and curious people in general public that we want to help inform and give them information so that they can find an esthetician, skincare professional,
Sure.
makeup artist. So you wanted to expound on PIH for us?
Yes, absolutely. So PIH is called post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And so what that means is that the melanin in your skin, so melanin gives us our color. Let's go back to melanin. If you don't know what melanin is, melanin gives us our color, our eye color, hair color, everything in our skin. And so one of the biggest things that I learned when I first got into working in medical was that what a tan was. That scared the hell out of me. A tan is dead skin cells. It's your dead cells. It's your dead cells trying to save the cells underneath. So they've said, okay, guys, we're just going to try to save these guys. So that's what they're doing. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to tan again, because I want my cells to be perfect. I want them to stay, healthy. So when we think about melanin, that's what melanin is. So all you sun worshipers out there, just remember, this is what your cells are doing. Okay, that's why we use SPF. It's so important. It's so imperative. So number 2, what is PIH? So PIH is caused when a person has usually a darker color, fits 4, 5, or 6 in the Fitzpatrick scale. If you don't know what that is, that's a Fitzpatrick scale from 1 to 6. 1 is being your lightest skin, and 6 being your darkest skin. Okay, skin tones. And so when you pass a 4, like you go to the 4, 5, and the 6, you run more risk of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation from things like trauma. So think of it this way. If you got a pimple on your cheek, if I got a pimple on my cheek right here, me as my skin, I'm a Fitz 3. Okay, sometimes borderlining 2, because it depends on winter months, probably a 2. So, but if I got a pimple here and then it went away and it healed, it would turn pink. Okay, now that's because I don't have a lot of melanin active in that area. Okay, now say you have someone who is of Hispanic, well, I'm Hispanic, but darker, like an actual, or maybe Asian culture.
I'm a 4.
Yeah. So think someone maybe a darker Asian, darker Hispanic, darker African American. They get that pimple on their skin and then it heals. They have a brown spot for 3 to 4 months. Okay. They burn their hand on the oven, and I get a pink spot they will have a burn mark for a darker, for a larger. That's because the skin in that area that melanin is active and trying to save those cells that are underneath it. Okay. So when I talked about that with waxing, okay, what are we doing? Ripping off that first layer of skin. Okay. The acid mantle is that as a protector. And then we have the stratum corneum, which is that outer layer of skin. So when you're ripping that off, you're causing damage. You're going to cause, and it doesn't happen to everybody, but it can happen where you start getting a darker spot because it's constant damage, it's constant trauma. So that's what PIH is. So
yeah, so it's like an umbrella that's over a certain
yep.
spot, and people will come in, oh, I need this brown spot removed. Remove the brown. Well, right now that brown spot is protecting what's underneath it and the capillaries, and as long as we treat the whole thing, then yes, it will eventually disappear in most cases. But yeah, I wanted to touch on that because that's something that's really I don't know that a lot of people are familiar with that, besides those of us in the industry.
Yeah,
and
for sure, for sure.
Try to explain that too. That I think that will help a lot of people, even just to feel better about themselves. You know, people aren't going out and tanning so much. Well, some are, but not like it used to be.
Yeah, they're still around.
To be more careful.
Yeah, I will say this, that they're with PIH again, like you said, it will eventually go away on its own. It does eventually clear up. If you're looking at doing something to remove it quicker, there are certain products you can use, again, like a retinol. You can use there's different products again that we carry at our facility, and again, name wise, I don't want to bring any names out, but there are things. So if you ever have any issues, contact me. Or you can also just do sometimes laser treatments. There are some laser treatments out there that are available, that you can do, like erbiums and things like that can help with PIH as well. But again, there's always ways to do it safely. Don't do anything at home. Don't do any chemicals or buy any acids or anything. I see a lot of this stuff that's people are buying on Amazon or these weird, sites, and don't do that, because again, when you're dealing with something that you don't understand, then you could really damage your skin and hurt yourself worse, and then cause that PIH to not only get worse, but then last so much longer. And then you could eventually have what is even worse, scarring and hyperpigmentation, which means we've completely removed those cells out of your skin and you have a white spot on your area, and that's permanent. So again, I always really specify, if you have an issue with something, please go talk to a professional.
Now, the tattooing, the permanent makeup, the brows, you do brows. Do you use a template or a string or what?
I am all over the place. People ask me this all the time. All my students ask, because I'm an educator as well. They ask, what I do. As I've grown in the industry, and remember, guys, I also had a makeup artistry background, so I can draw brows in my sleep. I've always felt confident in drawing brows. So it depends on the person. I think when I spend more time on mapping a person is when they have less hair. So think about people when maybe they've gotten older and they maybe tweezed and they only have like little hairs right here, and then we're trying to build something. But I always tell my clients, I am a very natural artist. There's many artists out there that do lots of different things, very bold looks. And you know what? I love it as an artistry. I think it's beautiful. I have people and peers that I work with that I'm just like, wow, y'all are great. You do fantastic stuff. It's just not my style, And so I don't really do big and bold. I like things to be very natural. Basically, if you are walking around town with my brows or my eyes or my lips, people probably don't even know you have a tattoo. And that's what I think is my style. And I think that's where a lot of my clients gravitate to come to see me, because I don't have a lot of the 20-year-olds that come see me, because I don't do bold stuff. I have a lot of the 35, 40s, 50s, 60s and older, because they just want to look like themselves maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago when they had better brows, or now they have a thyroid situation or whatever, or they're just getting older and losing hair, or it's now turning white. And what do we do? So yeah, I don't use a template. I've never used a template like a stencil. I've never done that. I've used string in the past. I've used I used in the early years. I used these like little rulers, and then using them for a long time so I could just measure things out. And then I went back to them recently, and I'm like, I miss these guys. So I don't know. It just depends on my mood, I guess. But I always tell all my clients that I don't ever do cookie cutter. Everybody's brows are different. I do brows that are going to fit you and your face. And the most important thing is that they're going to sit on your face correctly, meaning that they're sitting on the corrugator muscle that is part of that frontalis that's up here, so that when you're moving your brows, they look normal and natural. I don't want anything to ever be so big that it looks garish and it just looks like that's all you have are brows. And then I don't like them to be too arched and that sort of thing. So again, I always tell my clients, I mean, look at my work on Instagram and see my stuff. You'll see that most of it's pretty darn natural.
Yeah.
So no templates, no one size fits all for brows for everybody. But yeah, I do use lots of different tools to measure and make sure that things are fitting properly.
Let me see if I've got everything on my list. Got a page full of the qualifications. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about or bring up before we close?
I mean, honestly, I think that, one of the bigger things, I think that, if anyone's ever just interested in getting back to what we were talking about with that glow up of being over 50, I'm 41. I'll be 42 next month. I started really getting kind of into my own personal skincare in my mid 30s. So not when I was in my 20s. I didn't, like I said earlier, I didn't really wash my face very much. I mean, I didn't really have a routine. I just was lucky, didn't have them. I didn't pimples and things like that. I didn't really kind of know what I was doing. And I did go to the places like Ulta and Sephora and all that, and bought all the things that, were over the counter and things, and not ever knocking over the counter products. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I will say that. But what I learned is that as I aged, a lot of those over-the-counter products weren't doing what they said they were going to do for me. And so what I had to do is I had to learn to pivot and realize that what I always tell people, when you come to a medical facility, like a med spa, like where I work, we are not just we're not like a Walgreens. So say you're sick and you go to Walgreens and you get, something from, say you got a flu, you get NyQuil. Okay. But say you get really sick and you're like, okay, this is not good. Now you go to a doctor. What would you do if that doctor gave you NyQuil?
Yeah.
You'd probably go, well, why did you give me NyQuil? You're a doctor. That's kind of how I feel about this situation, is that we, in my facility, we work with products that are medical grade. You can't get this stuff over the counter. And so we're kind of like, okay, we're the antibiotic, as it were. We're that thing that you're going to get from a doctor. So that's what I've learned over the years, is that sometimes you do need to just go in, have a consultation with someone that knows what they're doing, knows what they're talking about, knows the products, and then will sit with you. And I always tell everybody this: you have to have a connection with your esthetician, your cosmetologist, just like your hairstylist and whoever, your doctor. You have to have a connection with that person. And if you don't feel that connection, don't go to them. It's that simple. I mean, I'm not for everybody. So I wouldn't expect for everyone to want to come see me. But the thing is, with me, you're going to get someone who's very truthful, very blunt, and going to tell you how I feel about things and what I think is going to work best for you. But the bottom line is we got to have that connection and we got to feel good together. So if you're looking for someone to help you with that stuff, really take the time and don't just go to some rando place or whatever. Go to a couple of places and get to meet the people, get to talk to them, do your research, find out who they are, how long have they been in business, how long have they been doing things. All that stuff's so important because, again, they're working on the largest organ on your body. So it's very important to know their background as well.
And there are 2 points there that kind of, I think, tie in with what you were saying, Texas. And one of them is these clients, in most cases, are going to be on an esthetician table or in an esthetician chair, and their eyes are closed, and somebody's coming at their skin with sharp things or hot things or strings or something. It's got to be somebody that they trust. And sometimes people will say, well, they're looking at price. My business and my protocols are based on results and results oriented, and it's based on results. Of course, my education and background plays a big part in that as well.
Absolutely.
It's not because it's like, well, you can get all prices of, there are all price ranges of massages, and pedicures and facials.
Yeah, 100%. Again, in this industry, what I've also found is you get what you pay for with a lot of the products and stuff that we use. I mean, we go through some really expensive things at our spa, and and it's like, wow. But we do want the best for our clients, and so we use those products ourselves. It's not like we're using the good stuff and then using over the counter stuff for them. No, we always tell our clients, you're gonna go places sometimes and you're gonna find that what they were using was, you can get that off Amazon. And places where you can't get what we get because we are under a doctor, and they legally won't sell it to you. So so there are different tiers, like you said, like, hairstylists and things. We're not a junior anything. It's like we move up, and especially like you said too, with your education. A lot of times people, there was a long time ago, there was someone said something, and it was along the lines, and I'm going to probably butcher it, but it was along the lines of how come you're so expensive when you can do something so quick? And they were like, well, because I do it fast doesn't mean that what I do, you didn't realize that when I took all these courses to get where I was to where I am now, and had to put all that education into what I'm doing, and learn skin, learn nails, learn hair, whatever it is, eyes, this, that, whatever, muscles. I mean, if you take one of my classes, they're very medical driven. And so I when I teach classes there, you're learning bones, you're learning muscles, you're learning arteries, you're learning everything. And it's like, whoa, I think a lot of my students, their ears just like ooze out their brain, they're just like, whoa, what did I just learn today? But I want people to understand that everything that we touch is so important, and it's all connected. So when you go to someone and they've got this experience and they can do something quickly and efficiently and do it great, that's why, because they took all that time and learned over those years to perfect what they do. And so that saying was like, yeah, you're paying for all those years. And it's so true. I've been in in the skincare industry now 8 years under doctors. I've been in the beauty industry for almost 22 years. That's why you're getting when you come to see me, that's why I charge what I charge. I've been in the permanent makeup world for 16 years. I've been teaching for 8. So again, I'm not a novice by any means, but that doesn't mean I'm not learning stuff all the time too. Because man, we got products coming out every year, right? Isn't it crazy?
Yes, and our equipment too. I don't think we've even touched.
Oh yeah.
Equipment.
We didn't. Yeah. We have so much. I mean, I'm a professional laser tech as well. So I do, that's my, one of my main things I love doing is laser. I love, doing tattoo removals, IPLs. I like doing hair removal, all the fun stuff. We do, the 2940 erbium for the face, for the face. So we do a lot of fun stuff, but yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff we do, and people just don't realize how expensive our world is. So yeah, when you come in sometimes and you get sometimes that sticker shock of like, whew, that was a $200 facial, but it was a great $200 facial. And now you feel better and you look better and you keep coming back because you know that we're doing good things for you. Now, if you're not seeing results, then we need to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. We usually close the show Skin Over 50 with a question for the guests. And so this is the question. It's the same question. What was the determining factor or the influential person that you can say made like a turning point? I know you've said pivoting several times, but a turning point in your life so that you are where you are today because of that influence, be it a person or situation or education.
I would probably have to say my mother, actually. My mom has been always one of my biggest fans, and gosh, she's always been a person to push me to do what I want to do. I was a creative as a kid, and artist, drawing, painting, all the things, and she never diminished that flame and that fire. Because sometimes people want to push their kids to do stuff that they don't want to do. And because I think maybe, they're going to be a good lawyer, they'll be a good doctor, they'll do this. And my mom was like, he loves to create and do things. And I think that in this industry, I get to create so much, and I also love to help people. That's my biggest thing. That's why I got into this industry, was to help people, feel better about themselves. And my mom has always been a huge influence in that, because she's always kind of pushed me to not stop. And always, I'm my boss laughs at me because I'm always taking education CE. I'm always wanting to learn and stuff. And everyone's always like, gosh, you take classes? I'm like, yes, I take classes. Just because I teach doesn't mean I stop there. I have to keep learning, because again, there's new products, new machines, new this, new that. And so my mom's always like, no, do all that, learn all you can, because you're never, you're never gonna stop wanting to learn if you love what you're doing. And so I think that my mom would definitely be one of my biggest factors in my growth as an adult, and in many industries like the makeup and film and med spas and whatever it was. She's always kind of pushed me to do what I want to do, and been my biggest fan. I think that's really important. I think when you're figure out where you want to go in your life, because I had finance background before I started doing all my stuff. I actually worked in finance, and let me tell you, I wouldn't have lasted in finance. That was not my speed, but I did finance for a few years actually as a loan officer. So yeah.
Well, I want to also let our viewers know that you are near Austin, Texas. That's where you
Yes.
are. You're in Buda.
Buda, yeah, we're in Buda, Texas. We're about 15 minutes south of Buda, Texas, via 45 or 35, whichever way you come. But yeah, we're right on 1626, FM 16. So we're FM 251 FM 1626, and yeah, we have a great little spa there. We have we do medical injections as well, and it's called Glow Laser and Beauty. You can look us up. I'm there Tuesday through Saturdays. I work in the afternoons and the evenings, so I take care of my little evening clients, and I love what I do out there. So if you're ever interested in anything, you can always look us up online too, or go to our Instagram, Glow Laser and Beauty, and you can always find me at texasdelarosa.com.
And you do not take walk-ins. They must have an appointment for a
No. Yeah, no. I don't do walk-ins. I'm telling
Okay.
you, I want to. I always stress that to people. Yeah, I don't do walk-ins for anything. Yeah, because a lot of the stuff too, we also have to get delegated through our doctor. So because sometimes we have products that we're using that we can't just slap on your face. So again, it's always important to have a good consultation, and also because I want to get to know you and find out what it is that you're trying to achieve, and how long, and how when are you doing this? Do you have a big event you're doing, or you want to look good by Christmas, or whatever it is.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. This has been it's been so much fun for me. It's just, I just love visiting with you and learning from you and talking skin talk with you.
Well, I'm so appreciative for you having me. Thank you so much. I'd be happy to be back on anytime. And Jill, again, it was a pleasure talking to you too. You're just amazing.
We will do this again. And I think I am probably 5 hours north of you, 5 or 6 hours, and I can see the lightning and hear the thunder coming.
Oh, it's coming your way. Yeah.
So you've sent it up.
Oh, yeah. It's quiet here now, quiet. But man, earlier, gosh, I felt like I was on the ocean. The wind was blowing, and I mean, it was just nuts out there. The rain was sideways, and it completely flooded my whole backyard out here. So it's just crazy. So it's all quiet. Well, you be safe and be careful up there. Okay.
Okay, you too. And we will meet again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.